High school wasn't the best. High school was quite hard, it's quite tough. It was really tough. I guess finding your identity for any LGBTQ plus person, it's really difficult. Growing up, that was probably like a really time I probably felt the most unsafe, but that was only because I didn't know who I truly was.
What it's like growing up with these feelings inside of you.
I mean, it's just confusing. It's really confusing. I guess trying to fit myself into something that actually wasn't the real me. The more I realised that something's not right here, something doesn't feel my authentic self, like something isn't me. Then they were like, you need to have a conversation when you get back. And then they openly asked me in person. And then I was like, yeah. Them asking me saying yes, it all went away. It honestly felt like a huge thing was lifted. And then I could just be myself. I'm the type of person, I need to be wanted. I need people to want me around. I need a family, I need a safe space. The people that's brought in and then create an Emporium to allow us to have this space, it actually healed me in a way. It solved a lot of what happened back then. It's always been the people. It's always been having a lot of close connections around me, building them up, then building me up. It's a support network, it's a community. Having wrestling and having you guys has given me that forever. If we go back to the very start of this conversation, that's what I needed at the time in high school. And I think that's why it's been really good to find this thing that's given me you guys, because that's probably the boy inside needing that at the time.
Every wrestling character has a story. Sometimes that story starts long before they ever step foot inside the ring. Welcome to the series where I step into something I call the Max Moody Lens, a more unfiltered, expressive way of questioning identity, performance, and meaning. It's not a different person, but rather a different way of seeing things. I'm exploring the psychology of professional wrestlers, specifically the space between the character they present and the person behind it. In this episode, that journey takes us far beyond wrestling as I look to crack open the techno warrior, Craig Ryan. We look at his character, where it comes from, and the experiences that gave rise to him. If you enjoyed this one, support the mission by subscribing and leaving a review. It helps these conversations reach more men who are becoming more self-led, building a meaningful life, and growing into the man they know they're capable of becoming. For this one, I'm Max Moody, and this is the Growth Voyage podcast. Enjoy. Okay. The red light is on. Craig, welcome to the lounge. Pretty simple, really. Who is Craig Ryan? Or should I say, who is the techno warrior?
I'm answering now. Techno warrior, Craig Ryan. Probably like the boy next door that you always want to have around, always going to have a good time. Maybe be a little bit annoying at times, maybe a bit chaotic, but he's always going to be on your side. He's always going to be there. And then the techno side, music plays such an important part of my life. I'm a DJ, as most people know. I DJs a lot of the shows that you've been seeing. Growing up, techno, trance, happy hardcore, it brought me up when I was like living in Liverpool as a boy up north. And having that like Wigan Pier sounds. Like I can remember like my first gig, I can remember it was like Darren Styles and it was Ultra Beat. Again, Ultra Beat being from Liverpool, so that was quite special. I was 18. I just had a connection to the lights, to the lasers, to the sound, to the dancers, to the atmosphere. And even prior to that, you had people like DJ Rankin and people like passing the music around on the phones. I've always had a connection to techno. And then bringing that like essence, that kind of like sound, that kind of like what's always going to be with me in the ring, it builds me up and it gets me energy going, it gets the crowd going, do you know what I mean? And like, it's always just been a part of me. So of course I'm the techno warrior. Of course I am.
It makes a lot of sense. In terms of this like connection to techno, like, how do you think that started? Was there like a connection there that you found that you were perhaps searching for to an extent, or what was the moment you thought, yeah, like this is my outlet, this is my thing? Like, when did that just click?
I would say about 3 years ago, kind of just like when I started doing matches, I guess, and started like actually being in the ring and doing it like live. To be honest, it's just been like, it's gone from like strength to strength. And I think, as I've mentioned, like having the music, the techno, as a way of putting myself out there and bringing it with me and getting the crowd going. I'm always a believer, and like I think we've spoken about this and so many people have spoken about it. It's like, we are in the ring ourselves, but times 100. And like, I'll go to raves. I mean, I was to like a rave last night. So I think I'm telling you, I've done 2 raves in the space of 2 days. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like I'm living it, and then having that energy and having that, like, I'm bringing it into the ring, and I also feel like it adds to my moveset.
But if we just rewind, so this specific love of techno, like this energy it gives you, what I want to know is like, where does that come from? Like, when did you stumble upon techno? When did you realize like the techno itself? Like, what were you looking for there? How did it come into your life? Were you like, why techno? Why not indie or folk music or country? Why techno?
You know what? Really thinking about it now, my mum had a cassette, and I must have been about like, 2, 3. And I remember having that cassette and listening to it in the car loads, and it had on it S Express. I got the hearts for you. And I remember like listening to that growing up, and like literally, and then that kind of like made it more of like going into more of like the happy hardcore side, and then like the techno side, and then like the trance side. Like, I was a massive, and I still am, trance music really, really, as a teenager, like having that like late 90s connection, and having people like I don't know, even like Tina Cousins or like random artists like that, just being able to like really look at it and like listen to it. And I used to be like, people used to think, God, you're mad because you have like this, like they never got it. They never got like the dance music side or the techno side with me growing up. Like my brother, my sister, my family. But yeah, I think that's probably like my earliest memory of like electronic and dance music would have been that cassette. And I think that's how it's kind of birthed. And like, I feel like, I mean, trance is called trance for a reason. Like, it gets you in a trance. That's the way I always believe it. And then like techno, it's just to feel it. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're at a rave and when you can just like, it just transports me to like a completely different place.
Was that the first time in your life where you felt like you could get this out of your system, shall we say? Or this like, yeah, like I feel free, I can move. Had you always kind of been like that? Or do you think the techno was kind of like a gateway into self-expression, shall we say?
I think it's more like it is me, if that makes sense. Like, I would say like going to a rave and being in that like that euphoria state, that was always meant to be me. That was always Craig, do you know what I mean? Like, going there and being able to be like within this kind of like world, that was me. Probably I was born that way, and then I've just been able to follow it through and just do it.
And so you're born that way, so it's kind of like you're alluding to like it's in your genes, basically. Like, this is right.
Yeah.
So was that always expressed? Like, you popped out the womb and then you started like having this energy, or did it take a while to kind of like, the seed was planted when you were born, like it was already there, but it took a while to sprout out?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's because when you are growing up and you're researching and you're finding yourself, I think you automatically connect to certain things when you're growing up. So for me, music was a huge connection. Techno was a huge connection. Trance was a huge connection. And then that just kind of like, yeah, you're always born that way, but then you get enhanced, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, enhancement. You know what I mean? Yes.
Enhancements. And now we are becoming, we're always learning. We're always growing as people. Do you know what I mean? We're always getting like more and more. But you have those like elements, and you have those like I guess I want to say like safety nets, I guess, or your identity. You always have those elements of your identity, and I think with techno and with the dance music side, that's always been me.
Yeah, so I guess in your search for finding yourself, as soon as you found techno, it's like, this is me. I'm taking a piece of that
completely,
and I'm just going to use it as part of me to then go into perhaps deeper layers of myself.
I completely agree.
Interesting. Well, what was that kind of line for you when you talk about like identity? It became like a part of you. Sometimes when people find the kind of rave scene or the music scene, it can be used as a form of escapism per se. Was there an element of that and the identity piece? Was it a bit of both when you first got into it? Love to like dive into.
Yeah, I guess escapism's a really interesting word. I guess for me, it's like a safe space, if that makes sense. And I always know it's where I belong. Like if I take last night, for example, a friend of mine asked me to come and watch him DJ. It was in Mystery of Sounds, which is one of my favourite places. Got the best sound system in London. Like, I swear to God, you can feel the bass through your feet. And I was at home. I knew I was getting ready, had some music on. We're coming to like 12:30. The journey there, I get excited. When I arrive and I see the logo, I get excited. When I go through the line, I get excited. Then when I see the light, I get excited. And then I place myself and I'm there and I'm taking everything in and I can't stop moving. Like literally, do you know what I mean? And if I just have to like listen and look. And to be honest, like I found last night especially, I was looking more at the crowd, if that makes sense. Like I was looking how they were.
Well, on that note, man, I'm with you. I think the best kind of environments for a boogie is actually when you're not facing the DJ and everyone's just kind of like in the moment with each other.
Yeah.
And it sounds to me like you're very connected in this space. Like, you know, there's the build up and then there's the night out and then, you know, whatever happens after that. I think sometimes people can perhaps use that, but they're disconnected, you know, from their life, from their source. But it seems to me like you're very much like, like this is a part of my life and I really treasure this experience. I get a lot of joy from it. And, you know, having, you know, known you for a while now, it seems like there is this kind of bundle of energy that is just looking for that safe space to express itself, which leads me to my follow-up question, which is, if you have that safe space now, was there a time in your life where perhaps you didn't have that safe space to express yourself? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just going back, like, and northern lads, gay lads, I think like back in high school wasn't the best. High school's quite hard, it's quite tough. It was really tough. And I'm going to be honest like that. And I can look back now and I had my friends, I had my family. But I guess finding your identity, like for any LGBTQ plus person, it's really difficult. And I feel like, growing up, and that was probably like probably the time I probably felt the most unsafe, but that was only because I didn't know who I truly was. I think a lot of people as well always said, oh, this is you. And I was like a firm, true believer in like, until I hadn't figured out who I was, no one has the right to tell me who I am, if that makes sense.
Well, you've touched upon something there, which is like, if you don't know who you are, then I think you are more vulnerable to other people's perceptions, or, you know, perhaps if they take it further into picking on you, bullying and all the other type of stuff. Whereas if you know who you are and you're embodying it, I can only speak for myself. It's kind of like, well, I know who I am, so you can say whatever you want to me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So, but what you're alluding to there is actually you were still figuring out yourself. You were told all these ideas of who you should be. And
they weren't you? I mean, who did you think you had to be? Or should I say, what did other people think you should be? And what was your relationship to that?
I mean, it's such an interesting question. Like, I feel like now we're talking about it, there was no kind of like path or expectation to be someone, if that makes sense. I think with myself, obviously you picture like, or what people tell you is like, you get married to a girl and have kids and stuff like that. And it's especially like back up in the north. Like, I mean, it's not the, it's a lot better now. I think society is a lot better now, but there's still troubling people and troubling times out there. But yeah, I don't think there was any like, I didn't really know what I was meant to be. If that makes sense. I just thought what people were telling me or what I felt inside, it just didn't really feel like that's what I should be. But now I am. So it's very, there's a lot to unpack here, but I'm glad we're having a conversation about it.
Well, I mean, feel free at any point, if we are going, as through the Max Moody Lens, we like to go quite deep. I mean, I'm just fascinated again, we talk about, the gay stuff there, gay stuff. I say that because especially as growing up, I can imagine it's a very tricky thing, especially surrounded by people who aren't very mature. I'd love to hear more about sort of that journey. Like, where was this something you were always kind of aware of? Like, I'd love to just unpick that, because especially like now, again, I can't comment on what it would be like. I imagine it'd be a lot safer to explore this type of stuff or to think about this stuff. Back then, I mean, I can only comment on myself. When I was kind of in the school system, I feel like my year or that generation, that was like the last of it, where it was like, the bullying was dying out by the time I left. And when I say bullying, I mean, of course you're going to get it whatever generation to an extent, but it felt like the traditional or the old school way of like, picking on people, like the harshness of it. It seemed like that was dying out, at least where I was. So back then, I can imagine it was still, there was very like grey lines, and there was still a lot of that old fashioned way of, seeing the world being, seeing things a certain way. So to talk to me about that, what it's like growing up with these feelings inside of you.
I mean, it's just confusing. It's really confusing. Like, and I think like, I remember when I told, say, my parents and then told my friends, like, it's the weight of the world I can't describe goes like that. Like honestly, it was like, it just feels so much better. Like, you just feel like you can breathe. You can just feel like you can really like just be yourself. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I think actually going back to like when we were talking about it, like first kind of like accepting it and being okay and being my true self as a gay man. I used to go out with mates that didn't know, then say I was going home and then go to a club with music, with trance. So, and then if that was my safe space in a gay bar, in a gay club, this was in Liverpool. So I remember being with, I guess, people that I connected to, and that was part of like the gay scene, I guess.
Well, it's interesting, even just you saying that.
Yeah.
It seemed like already it's kind of like these so-called friends you're with, actually you were keeping this away from them. Even you knew to some degree, okay, this is like the facade I'm putting up. I've got to maintain that somehow, because otherwise it's scary. But then, this is my real place. That I find fascinating.
But also what is, again, fascinating is that, like, like I was saying, people didn't have the right to tell me who I was until I found out, but everyone knew. And do you know what I mean? And everyone was just waiting for me to say. So that's always an interesting one. And a lot of people go through that. Everyone's like, we were just waiting for you to come out, or we were waiting for you to just tell us and stuff like that. So even though my mates who I was left, like in that moment to go to this like bar or this club, they all knew, but they didn't know that I was going to there, but they knew that I was gay. But yeah, that's another interesting point, I guess.
Interesting. So you didn't even know, did you know yourself at that point? Like at what point did you kind of like, oh yeah, okay, this is actually like, what's that journey like?
That journey was when I was like dating a girl and it didn't really feel right, if that makes sense. And like, and it's funny, I mean, it's funny stuff back now. But like, yeah, it just wasn't, I guess, trying to fit myself into something that actually wasn't the real me. And then the more that relationship went on, the more I realized that something's not right here, or something, no, sorry, let me change that. Something doesn't feel like my authentic self, like something isn't me. And then it started clicking, and then it started accepting it. And like, I'll be honest, like I used to grow up and like, I can call it being attracted to guys now. I used to just think I'd like the way they looked, or wanted them to be part of like a bit of an older brother, for example, or something like that. And now I can see it more as being like, oh no, that was an attraction, if that makes sense. Like that would, so, but at the time I did it wasn't like fancying them, or wasn't like having like gay feelings, let's say. I saw it more as like friendship, or like looking up to someone. And that's where I think it started to make sense when I was like 18, because then I realized that those feelings were actual gay attraction feelings, not what I thought they were at the time. Hence why no one could ever tell me who I was, because I hadn't figured out, or didn't even know who I was at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it makes total sense to me. Because is there a point where, okay, you've kind of like started to make this revelation, and then you have this like coming out moment, so to speak. Where did it feel like there was just this big weight just lifted off you at that exact point?
Yeah.
And then, I see. So there wasn't like an integration of like, hang on, how am I supposed to approach this? Did you have to let go of any ideas or preconceptions of who you should be before? Or was it just like, okay, cool, I've got permission now?
I mean, yeah, it kind of like slowly happens, if that makes sense. And I feel like the way, I mean, it's quite funny now I can speak about it, but the way that I had to tell my parents is because they found out that I was lying, and actually going to see my boyfriend at the time, who lives in central Liverpool. I used to go and see him, but I was saying I was staying at my best mates. But this is like when Facebook was like the big thing in the era. My friend who I was lying about was actually in India at the time, a message saying she missed me, or like, oh, she can't wait to get back. With my parents seeing that message, but being like, but I thought you were staying at hers. Then they were like, you need to have a conversation when you get back. It started, like, my heart started beating and stuff like that, because obviously, like, they found the lie. And then they openly asked me in person, and then I was like, yeah. And then this is where it gets to the weight. Them asking me saying yes, it all went away in the instant. And I can't even tell you, Max, like, if it honestly felt like a huge thing was lifted.
Wow.
And then I could just be myself.
Wow.
And then I knew who I was.
And by the sounds of it, so they already kind of knew.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were just kind of waiting for you to just like come to your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they were pretty accepting.
Yeah. And I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. And I know it's not forever. Like, that some people don't have that. And honestly, and this is why I think it is so important for the things like, I mean, we're talking about this, it was Pride yesterday. I feel like it's so important to have like Pride. It's so important to have like queer spaces, because people, like, there'll be other people growing up and like feeling this way that I felt, and trying to find those safe spaces, trying to find their kind of like their community. And if they don't have that, then where are they meant to go? Do you know what I mean? So, and I was lucky to have accepting parents, accepting friends. I was able to like navigate in my own pace, I guess. But some people don't have that option.
No, and it's very, I mean, there's so many tangents going on in my mind at the moment. I'm like, go down here, I want to go down there.
Go for it.
Out of interest, just on the like, you know, you found yourself as this weight lifted. Did you find your friendship circle changed at all, or did you find that it just required the internal shift for those relationships to change? Because I can only speak from personal experience. When I wasn't being authentic, when I was still figuring out who I was, my relationships, they were a bit, like I didn't feel connected to many people. And so it's easy for me to kind of look back on those and think, okay, well, there's two things here. Either one, like these people weren't really meant for me. And naturally, if you're not being authentic, you're going to attract inauthentic relationships. At the same time, I also think, coming back to personal responsibility, I think when our own energy changes, we can have quite a big impact on the people around us, and our perception of relationships can change as well. That's just my reflection. But did you find that your friendship circle shifted once you found a more authentic side to yourself? Or did you find that actually the same people who were in your life before stayed with you for the journey?
I would say mixed, if I'm truly honest. Like I still have people that, like my friends from high school, that are still with me. They always knew. They like literally, they were absolutely fine about, like, it was just like, again, waiting for you. But obviously, as you do, you lose friends along the way. And I'm not saying it's because of who I am as a gay man. I think just as you grow and you decide to make changes in your life, i.e. moving to London, you start having less and less things in common, which is really sad. And I remember my happiest times being, and this again goes to the music, my friends, my mates, and I used to hang around with like a lot of, I say, odd, scally-ish kind of lads, do you know what I mean? Like growing up. But I remember my happiest time being like, my mate just got like a job doing like runarounds as a delivery. He'd pick us up. We'd go with him. We'd listen to happy hardcore. We'd then, sounds bad, but we'd then go cruising and going down the motorway, just like blasting music. We'd go to the park and drink. Like, we'd go back to someone's house. We'd have a mini house party. I'd wake up on the couch. They were simpler times. They were nice. Like, for me, there are times that I'll never forget. And they were so simple. And they were so beautiful. And they were so lovely. And I do look back at those times and those mates. And it's sad because I was the one that changed. And I know do you know what I mean? And I decided to move to London, and I decided to pursue like a different kind of like career. And it just makes me think, obviously nothing lasts forever. Nothing does. But to have those memories, it means a lot. And again, I think that's also connecting to the music side, because at the time, happy hardcore, Wigan Pier, Darren Styles, it was so important. And I remember being in that car and listening to that with my mates around me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the emotion that brings up for you, because even, man, I didn't even grow up in like, you know, this kind of 90s rave era. But even when I listen to 90s rave music, I feel nostalgic, and I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
totally
get it. If you've got certain memories attached to that, it's going to be very difficult for you to let go. But, you know, it sounds like there's mixed feelings about looking back on that period. And the it's like that quote, isn't it? It's, you know, if you're, let's see if my brain works. I had the quote and it's just decided to leave me. One sec. Yeah, it's don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it sounds like you're kind of battling with that a bit.
Definitely. I think especially recently, I don't know what it is recently, I'm really getting nostalgic. I'm really getting it's really looking back at the times and looking back with fond memories completely. I
would question though, and I say this just because it's just popped into my mind, but do you think we have a tendency to have kind of rose-tinted glasses when looking back at the past? Because you're also referring to a time where, as you said, there were simpler times, and there was it sounds like a really beautiful period in many ways. At the same time, you're not really yourself there. You haven't found out who you are. So I guess my question to that is, is there, and I'm not doubting at all, by the way, that those were magical times. I am asking though, is there an element of, perhaps it's maybe this perception that we have on older times. Like I look at myself and I'm thinking back through like my memories and I'm like, oh, that was so awesome. I'm so glad we got to do that. And there's an element of truth to that. At the same time, internally, there's going to be a bit of a congestion or combustion there. One of those two words. They both sound like what I'm trying to go for. But something is a bit off, because I haven't fully found myself yet. So that's where I've kind of looked back at my memories. I'm like, oh, I feel really nostalgic. And it's like, oh, I wish I could go back. But it's like, I'd be a different person then. And so I think that was kind of my way of like accepting that, those times were cool for that time period of my life, but maybe there isn't such a desire to go back there. I don't know if any of that resonates.
No, it does. It really does. I mean, like, let me ask you a question, I guess. Do you feel like you're constantly changing? Like, do you feel like you are you now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is me. There's no, how can I say it? Because you made a really good point about looking back, but then the person that you are now, for me, I feel like I'm not going to change anymore. I think I'm done. Not like we're always growing, we're always learning, but I think as a person and as
identity,
identity, I think that's a good word. And I think we can go back to the wrestling and being like, obviously, always a huge fan growing up. Never thought I'd be doing it. Never thought I'd have my own promotion. Never thought like that would happen. And then 3 years ago, my path changed. But it now feels like this is it.
Okay, like this is it. Like I've got my people. I've got my passion.
Yeah. DJing, wrestling, like that music. Like that's it. And I'm done. But I now need to just develop it more, grow more with it. So that was a long-winded way of asking. So
what you're suggesting is your character traits might develop, but your identity and sense of self, you're happy. You're content.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I'm looking back a bit more now, because it was still me back in the day when I was like wearing like Lacoste tracksuits, going around like listeners happy hardcore. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll still do that now. But for me now is like I'm set. I'm happy, and I think that's why I'm looking back, because maybe I'm looking back at the journey that it took me to get here. Does that make sense?
Maybe even grieving. Maybe
grieving of
potentially
of a time that like, because I would give anything to go back and experience it again. I really was, and it's so opposite of what I said when I got into high school, because high school was tough, but there were happy times. There was still times that I remember that I would love to go back. And I also think it's because there was no care in the world. There was no responsibility. There was no burden. There was no there was no tough, like being tough times. You know what I mean? Like having to do adult stuff, let's say. And I think that's a,
yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it, because I think one of the trade-offs of pursuing your passion is that it comes with responsibility.
Yeah.
And you're responsible for people. I mean, the amount of responsibility you take on with the Emporium shows, it's a lot. And that is the price you have to pay for having a cool life in many ways. Yeah. I do believe that, and it's something that I've certainly reflected on. Like, what if you can just go back and just be a kid again and be so self-absorbed that your only priority is what you're going to eat at lunch. And I think there's beauty, although I would even challenge you to think, well, where can you create that feeling in your everyday life? It sounds like you have actually designed parts of that in your own ways, through the communities that you've designed the raving scene, for example, it sounds to me like there is that time you've allocated to go back to that kid self, except this time there's no element or suspicion of like running away from your life. It's like, oh no, like I live with purpose, I've got passion, I've got great connections, I know who I am. And so when I'm going out to party and stuff, it's like, yeah, this is my time to feel like a kid again. But this time when the party's over, yeah, you might have a hangover, you might have a come down or whatever, but ultimately, is there really a come down because you're coming back to a life that you love? And I think that is the difference, just observing that now. It's like, yeah, I am going to be a kid again.
Yeah.
And I think it's more important now more than ever. The more you find your passion in life, the more important it is to find time to be a kid again.
Yeah.
And it's something I've observed in myself. I'm like, you know, when I feel like something's not quite right or out of alignment, I've got to be a kid again. I've got to do something silly or, you know, something to just, and this is why, you know, I love jiu-jitsu to a degree, right? Because I'm just rolling around with guys and, you know, we're trying cool stuff. And there is an element of that kid-like stuff to it. You know what I mean?
With wrestling as well. Do you think that like what we have and like playing around with your friends?
Oh man,
I do.
100%. Like it's like our inner kids just being expressed again.
Yeah.
Like for sure. But this time you've got just autonomy over it, and you decide like how much you want to give. So like looking at this from a lens, the Max Moody lens. You know, I would look at it like, you know what, we've got this really cool life now. Like, what a blessing this is. We get to fulfill our passions, be who we want to be, and we don't need to escape from it, and we can choose whatever we want. So, I would even that. That's why I asked about the rose tinted glasses. Right, my glasses are pink, but yours, I'm not saying they're necessarily rose tinted, but when I compare kind of like your sense of self, which you've described to me back then, versus now, I'm like, well, and then you've said, oh, I would do anything to go back to those days. That's where I'm kind of like, okay, interesting. So is this the kind of the mind playing tricks, or, you know, that I find fascinating. Yeah. I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer, but that's just an observation.
No, I love it. And I think it's great that we're having this conversation because I've never really spoken to anyone about it. And I think us doing this is really opening up a lot, I'd say. So yeah, it's definitely food for thought, Max.
Well, I'll give you more food. Okay. Identity. You've talked about it a lot there. You've said, I know who I am now. I can't see an evolution to this. Like, I'm doing this. There's people who I love. I think that's wonderful. I think that's beautiful. At the same time, times can change. We can change, as you've already alluded to. Our characteristics can change. Is there a possibility out there that perhaps, there is a bit of a shift towards something else? Like, let's say life just threw a spanner in the works. For whatever reason, you can't DJ, or, touch wood. Yeah, touching a lot of wood here. We have got wood. Pro wrestling's not an option anymore. What happens then to your sense of self? Are you willing to be adaptable, or will you die on your sword?
I mean, at the moment, I can't imagine life without wrestling. I can't imagine life without and like without the DJing, without the music. I can't imagine life without you guys, without like my, let's say, wrestling family. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been times that I've wanted to quit, like so many times. And like something might have happened. In fact, here's a funny story I can tell you now. The week of starting, let me go back. There was a time when something happened in wrestling about 1.5 years ago that made me feel unseen, not needed, a bit worthless, and it ricocheted me back to being in high school. That boy, right. And I was done. I was completely done. Now looking back at it, it's not a huge thing, but it made me feel like this. that same week, the opportunity of starting Emporium happens. And I was like, okay, I know how to run shows. I know how to run events. It's what I do to live in. So I've got the knowledge. But it also allows me and the team to create this promotion and this space that we can all be creative and unique together. And I think that's my biggest achievement in wrestling. And now, again, I still love wrestling. I do. There's times where like you just kind of doubt yourself. It gets a bit stressful. You say things that you don't necessarily mean. But I can't imagine my life without it, and I can't imagine my life without you guys, everyone that I know, the people that it's brought in, and then creating Emporium to allow us to have this space. It actually healed me in a way, I think, and it solved a lot of what happened back then. And I don't really want to go into what that was because I'm going to not say, but it really did ricochet me into like being that boy in school again. So yeah, I guess starting the promotion with Robin, Greg, Ray, like it's been a bit of a, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I don't know how many more years I've got like actual wrestling. Like I don't. But if this is the thing that I enjoy and keeps me in the industry and gets me to be with my friends and my family, and I'm always a huge, this is the best way to describe me. This is the best way to describe Craig. I always want to take people on the journey, whether they like it or not. Do you know what I mean? Like I always have to like get people on board and invite everyone to everything because I want everyone to be there. If I'm out stupidly, I want to be posting on Instagram stories because I want people to see what I'm feeling, or like, and that is a big thing that I've actually been told, that you take people on the journey, and like that's what I feel like I'm doing at the moment. I'm still getting everyone on board. Everyone's been amazing with Emporium. Every single person that has supported, or that's like being able to like just push it and just being there, and it really does. I mean, you've been, it's just a nice feeling. It feels like we've done this together. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. And now we've got the added, like say sister brand of NRG, which is now like mixing rave and wrestling. That is like a dream. That is like, that's mine. And I think yours. We love that. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mad journey, let's say. And I can't imagine. And just going back to your original question again, I'm just going on and taking people on the journey. I can't imagine what I wouldn't be doing if I wasn't wrestling or DJing.
Yeah, and yeah, you and me both with that dream. Like I had that vision. I was at a music festival back in 22, and that vision came through. I was like, what if you could combine like techno, raving, and wrestling? And yeah, mate, you made it happen. It was quite amazing when you really like picture it. But yeah, I think because we're quite forward focused, we're like, right, on to next. Yeah. But I think just taking that time to just like, sit with it, like, we did this cool shit. It seems to me like community's a big driving force of what you're doing. And it's something I've thought about quite a lot. We alluded to it before. You said it was mixed. Like some people were there for the journey. Some people perhaps fell off or were no longer, resonating with you in your life. And that, for me, what you've epitomized there, I think that's what connections are for. It's like if people are in my life, it's because we're heading in the same direction. Like we're working towards a common goal. Yeah. We're aligned. And if you're not doing that, if someone's not part of that journey, then I question sometimes. I'm like, what is this person's role in my life? Is it just somebody who I used to know? To quote the song.
Didn't have to.
You did. Yeah. I mean, you know. And again, you know, as you can see, I'm not a singer. I don't think we'll be duetting anytime soon. DJ and
we'll stay behind the decks. Yeah.
I think better that way. But exactly. You see what I mean? I think there's something about building something together with people who are aligned, share the same mission. Yeah, they're cool people. You're just your people. Like I think it seems to me like that's actually your biggest driving force as opposed to simply just the wrestling or DJing as a...
It's the people. It's always been the people. It's always been the people. It's always been having a lot of close connections around me, building them up, then building me up. It's a support network. It's a community, a family. That's why, I love my moves. I love doing like a runner. I love like taking a suplex. But if it was not for the people that got me in that ring, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I think, I'm a huge firm believer in like it is all about community. And I think that's another thing why we are, and like we're bringing for Emporium, we're connecting to like the LGBTQ plus community, why we're bringing in like artists and drag artists and cabaret acts, and that's through people that I've met just as I've gone through life, let's say. Or that we found that we really want to work with. And I think that's bringing the two communities together. So I think it's definitely a community thing and connecting with people. And also you've made me think a bit more spiritually since we've known each other and been mates. Like I remember that time, what was it, where like you messaged me and I was thinking about you, and then vice versa. And then like I was like, oh, just a random thing. You're like, no, it's actually a spiritual thing, right? And then you showed me those videos and researched into it, and I was like, okay, that's mad, because I'm a firm believer in that connection to people is so important.
Yeah, big time, man. I mean, sometimes, there's something going on that we can't quite comprehend, if we're living in like the 3D. But I mean, even sometimes just having an intention of someone in my mind, and then, I'll get a text from them like, this is all very real stuff. Yeah. Which I'll certainly be looking to dive into more on this show. I wanted to touch upon the sense of community, the LGBT stuff too. So it's abundantly clear to me now, like when you were finding yourself, how important those safe spaces were in terms of like, okay, cool, there's people like me who, okay, maybe think this way, or see things this way, or have this type of sexuality, whatever. That for me is very clear. Like, okay, cool, I can just be myself. It also seems like since you first started, let's say, exploring these communities and stuff, you've also found, purpose through wrestling and through the other stuff. And now it's like, that's not your only safe space anymore. Now there's like another safe space with wrestling and like your people. So is there an element of, okay, we don't actually, this is act as like a great way for me to express myself, although I don't need to stay like pigeonholed in this box per se. Like I can bring the guys from here, I can bring wrestling together, we can create something great. We don't necessarily need to stay in this one identity. I can be like multiple facets. Like I can have a bit of this, a bit of techno, a bit of wrestling. Have you found that to be the case, where you can be like, like these are cool people over here, actually I'm going to show you, it's actually safe to then come into this community here and like combine it a bit? It's a very interesting subject, like we've talked about on the pod before, about how like, you could argue we're not actually meant to be built in like big cities and stuff. We're meant to have like communities where we share the same values and interested in the same thing. Although you've demonstrated a power in like combining communities as well. And you come across like a great example of someone who's been like, I've got my people here, let's bring everyone together and make something cool. So I'm just interested in like diving into that element of stuff. Do you feel like you're able to kind of like incorporate all different worlds now? There's no like, okay, I've got my people here. You're able to like combine it?
No, completely. And I think that's just the nature of the person that I am, as like trying to bring everyone on the journey. Like I want everyone to feel the euphoria of togetherness, like in a rave. Do you know what I mean? I feel like everyone connects. Like I feel everyone should connect. So I feel like bringing my friends or bringing my my colleagues or my peers and putting them in like a space. And I think the Emporium show is a really good example of that, because like people had never, some of my mates, and I'm sure yours, had never been to a wrestling show, do you know what I mean? And then you convince them, well, I wouldn't say convince, you show them what it's all about, and then they're like, oh, I get that now. I get why you like it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that is like having the mecca of, say, like, or like the home of like a wrestling show, and bringing everyone in different communities and stuff, and getting them to like experience the joy that we get, I guess. Yeah, I like bringing all of my close communities together.
Well, there's something quite powerful about, yeah, kind of like getting like your different subsets of friends to meet each other. I think for a while I was quite like, okay, right, there's these people here, and then there's like the wrestling people, and then there's like, oh, and then whereas actually it's very freeing. Yeah. And it seems like this has been the case for you, where it's just like, yeah, let's just get like my wrestling buddies to meet these guys and just see what happens. And yeah, it's like a different world. And I think that is like very freeing. It's like there's no like 2 lives or 3 lives. It's like I'm a multi-dimensional being, and yeah, like people will see different sides to me, but this is all part of me.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. And yeah, I don't think we've actually discussed like where pro wrestling actually entered your life. Like, what made you actually start it?
So as I said, I was always a fan of wrestling as a kid growing up. I was brought up on the Attitude Era, so very much into the Hardys and Lita growing up. They were my heroes. But 3 years ago, or maybe just over now, 3 years ago, I was in a gym, and the gym in London did like special classes, and they did like the most random classes ever. Like, so I think one I did like Wiccan yoga, and then it was like other stuff. I'm trying to think what else. There was like a trapeze class, whatever, and they'd alternate. And then they had the Lucha Libre class, and I was like, that's a bit of me. Okay, let's try it. And then I started doing it in the gym with Greg, our coach. And I go every week. I sometimes go twice a week, and I just felt a connection to it. I just loved it so much. I loved it so much at the time. Like, I can't believe I hadn't started this sooner. And then Greg said I should come down to the gym and train like with all you guys. And I did. It was nerve-wracking at first because it was a completely different environment. The gym that I was part of was super like Instagram-y, kind of like really flashy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was perfect for like content. That's why like a lot of people used to go there. I didn't go there for that reason. But the gym that we train it was completely polar opposites to that. And but it was nice. It felt amazing. I remember seeing a poster of Lisa on the wall, and I was like, okay, I'm home. And then yes, that was 3 years ago. And then I just trained, and I've gotten to a level now. I've still got loads to learn. There's so much I still want to do match wise. There's so many people I still want to work with, but I do feel finally like, yeah, that I can say that I am good at what I do. I think I've gotten to a level where like I can hold my own. Everything makes sense. Still got a lot to learn, as I said, and that's what I'm excited for. But yeah, it's been a journey over the past 3 years that, again, my path changed, and I didn't expect it to change, but it was the right change for me. So this gone completely this way, and now with Emporium, it's going like this way, where wrestling and promoting, it's still kind of like very parallel, but maybe it might go more towards the promotion side. Who knows? I guess it's just a journey that's naturally happening for me. And it's all started from, 3 years ago, just me and Greg in the gym. It's crazy.
Well, it's amazing. Just like I think it's important that you had that open mind to start off with, that curiosity to go, oh yeah, what is this? So I think just the impetus, the character trait of being like, yeah, let's give this a go. Yeah. And like you said, there probably was a lot of resistance at first because it's like, oh, new people, new crowd, not the safe communities that I'm used to. And so, yeah, I think we there's a lesson in there, and just giving stuff a go for sure.
Completely. Yeah. Like I'll give anything a go. I would literally give anything a go. That's why the gym was great, because like it did so many spontaneous random classes on a rotation, like a monthly rotation, and I would try everything else to see what I was like. But then this one got my heart, and it connected to me, and I think, and Greg's a big part of that. You guys are a huge part of that, and that just pulled me in, and then gave me this. So yeah.
Were you looking for a purpose at the time?
I think I was looking. I'd recently left a job that I was happy in. An opportunity happened, which is the reason why I had to leave. But that job at the time had a very family connection. It was my best friends in London, still speak to them now. So I think leaving that and then getting wrestling and getting you guys was a huge need. I'm the type of person, and this is being completely honest, I need to be wanted. I need people to want me around. And I know that sounds crazy, but I need a family. I need a safe space. I need everyone to be supportive of each other and being protective of each other. I've always needed that for myself. I always have. Like, I can handle myself. I'm happy with myself. And we've had this conversation. I remember us having this conversation. I do need people to want me to be there, if that makes sense. And I don't know what that is. And I've always had it. And I think having wrestling and having BFD and having you guys has given me that forever, if that makes sense. And I'm getting a bit emotional about it now, because I've never really spoken about it in this way. And I'm quite an emotional person anyway. But yeah, having you guys and wrestling, a lot of healing happens, if I'm truly honest. And I think I needed it at the time. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I don't know where it's going.
Don't apologize, man. I love it.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful to have you guys in my life. Like, I really am. I'm so thankful to have wrestling. I'm so thankful to have BFD and where it's taken me. And I can't imagine my life without you guys in it, if that makes sense. Like, when would we ever be doing this? Like, do you know what I mean? What this wrestling's given us this. It's given us to sit in front of each other. We've gone to raves. We've hung out. We never would have met if it wasn't for this one thing that we have a connection to. I think that's why connections are so important, and like meeting people are so important, and being together is so important, because it provides a safe space and people to look after you in a way. And I think this is maybe where, if we go back to the very start of this conversation, that's what I needed at the time in high school. And I think that's why it's been really good to find this thing that's given me you guys, because that's probably the boy inside needing that at the time, if I'm truly honest.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Bro.
Sorry. Yeah.
Love cracking you open there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. And yeah, it definitely seems like it's kind of almost, I don't like to say filling a wound, but that's kind of how you described it, right? It's like, I can see it goes very deep, very deep for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
To all you guys and what you've done to like what we do together. I think it's incredible.
Well, it's very interesting, like for me, because again, when we talk about like wounds and stuff and the stuff that we carry from when we're younger, very often it can be like, okay, right, we need to do something about this, and it's exploring, like, I don't know, deeper work, for example, to kind of, okay, let's get to the root of this. And yeah, but then what you've alluded to there is this feeling that you've got that's there.
Yeah.
You've used that to then create something really powerful. And I think it's just such a great example of how you can use like these deeper wounds. Like we can actually use that to propel us to do some really amazing stuff in the world.
Yeah.
And so all of this really, this tight-knit community, the energy, all of that's being created from that place, which I think is really beautiful. It's just a big, at least for myself, it's just a big eye opener for me to go, yeah, like some of the world's most beautiful creations are from like that place. Like it's from that deeper place. And I think there's something so cool about that, you know, rather than this kind of like focus on healing in the traditional sense. It's like, well, this is kind of healing to a degree, right? And it's like, let's use that energy and let's turn it into something good. And there's many people out there who haven't quite figured out a way how to do that yet, or there might not be a desire to change things or use that energy for something good. Sometimes it can pull people towards the opposite direction, but you've actually used that from an environment where it sounds like you didn't really have that sense of like, you know, protection or sense of belonging. And you could have kind of gone down that route and perpetuated it further, but then actually you've actually done I'm going to use this to create something great. And I think that is a wicked example of just self-leadership, you know, doing something with your life, because, you know, no one's going to come and save you, right? Like you've done that by yourself in a way.
I think, and that is a really interesting point, because I feel like for me personally, saving myself was never an option. Like, do you know what I mean? I had to but I have done that. Do you know what I mean? And I had you're right. I think figuring out what you want in life is self-protection. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You've opened up a lot, Max.
That's the goal. It's the Max Moody Lens.
It's a Max Moody Lens.
I take no prisoners. Yeah, well, man, awesome. And I really appreciate your vulnerability there. I think it's awesome. It's a wicked, I think it's just a wicked place to be. You know, I think we need men to, be in touch with their emotional side. Get it out there. Yeah. For sure. It's all part of this journey of, self-expression. And, you know, on the connection, man, it's actually a really powerful point you made, because one of the realizations I had with pro wrestling was that, these are my people. And then the conclusion I made off of that was that I need to be spending more time here, because I'm a strong believer of you should go where you're celebrated. And for a long time, I went into social environments where I don't think it would have mattered if I was there or not. It felt like I was invisible. Yeah. I felt like I was a bit of a burden to people. I didn't really have that sense of belonging. And, you know, I remember, just one example, just asking someone, at university, I was like, it was a sense of, I wanted to be included. So I messaged someone, I was like, do you want to go to the pub after an exam? And I think he texted me back. And that's where I was like really just longing for some type of connection. And I think he texted me back. He's like, sorry, mate, I'm going to the pub with my other mates. And I was just like in that spot where I'm just like, man, like I don't think anyone actually really wants, like is really longing for me to be there. And, I kind of went down this like soul path where I'm just like, right, it's me against the world. And I think there's like a really beautiful energy about that period, because it's, it's like, okay, you realize, okay, it's only you. And it's this lone wolf mentality basically that I went through. And I think a lot of guys go through, there is a bit of a lonely stage. And for me, it was awesome. I built up a lot of great character traits, went deep into self-help and stuff. And it was a really good driving force for me. But then I still was kind of I hadn't really found my people yet. But I think what I had done was I just thought, I don't need people. That was my mentality. I was kind of shut off from like all forms of like intimacy or vulnerability or anything. But what I found was after I went away for a while, did some soul searching, I came back and I remember just walking into training, or I think I might have seen you at a show or something, and I just remember like the excitement in your in your texts, in your voice when you saw me, like your eyes like widening, and like the excitement that I felt from yourself that I was in that space. It was like it was a bit of a wake up call for me. It was like, oh, like people are actually happy that I'm here. Like people actually like miss me, and it wasn't even just yourself. It was like all the guys like, oh man, I missed you. Yeah. I was like, I had no idea these guys missed me, and it was like quite a powerful moment for myself. It's like, man, I've hardly it didn't feel like, at least for myself, that I'd put a lot of effort in to the community as much as other people. So to be celebrated in that way for coming back, it was like very humbling for me, and it made me just treasure the community so much more. And I think it definitely, I think, cracked me open a bit. It was like, wow. And it gave me the realization that I just needed to spend more time in wrestling. But it was, it was a very eye-opening moment for me. And so I would definitely thank you for the role that you played in that journey for myself, man. Yeah.
See, I don't know, but yeah. Honestly, you were missed. Honestly, we missed you so much. Like, and we're so, I remember you coming back, and I think we got straight in the ring, didn't we? We just started like working, and it just felt like you hadn't left. Do you know what I mean? And it was just so fun. And this is what I'm saying. I need us all to be together. And I know life takes us in different directions, but like when you came back, I was like, a brother was back. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. And I think that is, you know what? Not everyone has that. Like, people might just be like, just want to go in, just want to train, just want to leave. But no, I think we've built together a real strong connection, all of us, that I don't think could ever be replaced with anything else. Going back to your original question, where would you go? I don't think it would be anything. But yeah, no, I remember you coming back that first training. And we had a roll around and stuff, and it was sick.
Yeah, it was great, and it does lead me to like oh man, we're going deep on, but I mean, this is the Max Moody Lens.
I like it. I think we to go deeper.
I can always go deeper. I mean, even just what you said there, just like gives me like a lot of deeper questions in terms of like, you know, my social needs and stuff. Because I do quite like being alone. Like I love my alone time.
Yeah.
It just makes me think like, you know, how much of that is like almost like a hyper independence, you know, because I like spend so much time like, you know, I mean, you hear about this a lot with guys where, you know, they'd spend a lot of time with themselves as a kid, and they learn to kind of like, you know, isolate themselves and like do their own thing, keep themselves busy. I feel like because I learned to do that, sometimes I question like, am I like shutting off my social needs perhaps because I'm just so used to just being alone. I love in my own company. And I think the wrestling is a great mirror for me to be like, yeah, like I actually do like community, which sounds crazy, but it's very interesting as well. I think there's still like for me, there's like a very interesting balance. Like I'm very protective over like my energy, and you know, if you do see me at social events, if I'm leading an event, then it's different. Like if I'm leading an event in terms of like, you know, men's community or something like that, then it's different. I think when I go to something else which isn't my thing, or like, I don't know, like I'm outside of my way of doing things, then I think for me, I might very, it's an interesting experiment, shall we say. Because I like being, I like being in my own groove, shall we say. And it's like, in external environments, it's like, okay, this isn't my territory. It's like someone else is doing it. It's like, I don't know, it's a bit of an interesting one for me.
I completely understand what you're saying.
So yeah, it's kind of like this, like, okay, is this isolation? Is this me part of the, so it's still something which is, it's been a bit of a journey for me in terms of working out actually how much social needs I actually need. But again, it's something I didn't realize until over only the last year or so or two, where I thought, I don't need much. I get a lot of my needs like met. And I realized that's because, it is through stuff like pro wrestling and jiu-jitsu and of course the podcasting, where I do get to connect with people on a deeper level, or we're just doing something that we both enjoy. But I'd always attributed socializing to like social events and stuff, which is just, different kettle of fish, so to speak. I'd like to finish off by asking you, how much of Craig Ryan is being exhibited right now, day to day. As you were alluding to before, you've went to 2 raves over the last 2 nights. Where is the line? Like, how much of Craig Ryan is in front of me right now? How much is it to the top?
I mean, it's getting more and more. It really is. It's becoming a bit more of like a completely identity, like being able to know what I'm going to wear mixed to like what I would wear normally every day. It's like, it's just a little bit heightened, if that makes sense. The way I'm coming into the ring is a bit more of me, a bit more confident. The way I'm being able to pull in feelings and dancing and moments from last night that I would feel in the same in the ring. It's starting to become a lot more connected. Because I remember when we think of who we want to be, you do feel like you're coming up with this whole blank piece of paper and putting them together. It's actually kind of the opposite. They're already inside you. They're just heightened. They're just like times 10 of who you really are. If I was walking around calling myself, I don't know, the tennis warrior, like I have no connection to tennis. Do you know what I mean? Like something so random like that. Like, but I know music, I know techno. It's made me the person I am today. That dance music, that whole love has made Craig. And just to top it off, it's still kind of, I guess, the northern lad that I became, or that I was back in the day, just is now become out, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still got that, like, connection to back home, Liverpool, dance music, going around with my mates. That's kind of just who Craig is now. Do you know what I mean? So, I guess they're becoming the same person. But they always were, do you know what I mean? So like, it's definitely, I'm definitely living more and more as one with Craig. If that answers your question.
Well, it certainly does.
Yeah.
And I wonder in terms of Craig himself, when it comes to like embodying it and being that person. I think when it comes to the warrior in particular, of the techno warrior, that implies someone who's been to battle, has a mission, has purpose, working towards something greater than himself. That is the warrior. That is the warrior archetype. It's an archetype that I resonate with very, very deeply. And you are embodying that, right? You are working to something that is greater than yourself. Like, you've demonstrated how important this is for you to create this space. You've got that mission. You've been through the battles. Clearly, you've been through the battles, and you're here to tell the tale. You didn't quite get what you perhaps needed growing up. You didn't have that protection growing up. You've used that experience, you've alchemized it, and you've created something great out of it. Like, that for me is a warrior. And that for me is what I see in terms of the techno warrior. Like, you're someone who's lived it. You've lived the battles. Yeah. You've had that lived experience. It's completely different if you started exhibiting that before you'd been this journey. You know, you can't pop out the womb and be a techno warrior. Your experiences of hardship and experiences and finding out who you were on a personal level, that has created the techno warrior. So although I'll resonate with the idea of, yeah, that was always inside you, you had to go on the journey to unlock it. Without the journey, it wouldn't have been unlocked. And so all of these experiences in the past, as tough as they were, and the stuff at school and stuff, which was a pretty shitty time, that was necessary, because without that, you wouldn't have formed the techno warrior. It was like you had to go through those challenges to get to that archetype, to find your purpose. Because without it, you wouldn't have your purpose. Without the pain, you wouldn't have found your purpose. That's just from my Max Moody Lens looking in. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see the world.
I love it. Yeah, spot on. And I think having this conversation and not really, I didn't know what to expect today talking to you. Do you know what I mean? I think this has been really amazing. I think you saying that Craig will now, the Techno Warrior will now be maybe another level, because we've really delved into like the reason of who Craig is. So now he knows who he is and where he's come from. It's gonna add a little bit of extra bit to it, I would say. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Well, it's certainly an inspiration, brother. You know, a lot of young guys who are growing up and, you know, they haven't found themselves yet. You know, they're still figuring out who they are. Man, they see you, and you're living proof of what's capable when they put their mind to it, which I think is pretty awesome.
Thanks, mate.
What we'll do, we'll dive into the closing traditions of the podcast. The first two are routine, asked every week. The third one is asked by a member of the Growth Voyage community. So if you are listening and you would like to ask a question to our next guest, drop them in the comments below or shoot me a message directly. First one, nice and simple. It's a song recommendation.
Oh, God. Right. I'm going to really think about this one. Oh, God, because there's so many going in my mind now.
It's always the most difficult.
It's always the most difficult. And now there's a lot of pressure because I'm like, do I go techno? Do I go trance? Do I go happy hardcore? I'm going to go happy hardcore. So there's a song. It's on Darren Styles' album. It's called I'm Just Easy. It's a perfect song for the way that I was probably feeling growing up and connecting to people. It's great. There's another one as well, which I'm going to say Any Real Lies as well. So I'd say North Circular. Sorry, I'm chosen two if that's all right. So North Circular, Real Lies, and Darren Styles, I'm Just Easy. Perfect song to make you feel nostalgic if you are in that era or like at that time. So I'm going to go with those two.
Brilliant. I'll be listening to them and adding them to my Rave playlist, I'm sure, and the Growth Voyage playlist. Second one, it's a book recommendation.
Okay. Straight Jacket by Matthew Todd, I believe. Every gay man needs to read it. Every person should read it. It really opens up a lot, and it's about everything we've spoken about growing up as a gay, as trying not being able to come out. It goes into how important spaces are for gay people. Yeah, I would really recommend that. And I'm not giving it justice now because it's actually such an emotional book and it really goes in. So I would definitely say that is an absolute must read that any queer person, LGBTQ plus person, if you are open, and if you're an ally, let's say, I would recommend that you read it in case you could be a person that could support someone who is going through a tough time in that world. And it will open your eyes to a lot of things that we feel that it's hard to explain at the time. So I was there, yeah. So that's Street Jacket.
Brilliant. Was that recommended to you out of interest?
Yeah. It was recommended to me at a really dark time in my life. When I was doing some therapy. It would have actually been just before wrestling. And I read it. And it really opened my eyes up to a lot of things, what was going through at the time. And again, yeah, made me realize why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, why I was doing things that I was doing. If someone was able to put my thoughts into a book and explain to me back why I was feeling that way and that you weren't the only one feeling like this, that was the book. And I suggest this book to everyone, like everyone I meet, everyone should read it. It's really, it is very, very powerful.
Brilliant. I love those books that just make a huge impact on your life. It's very interesting that period came just before wrestling. I wonder if there was a link there between doing deeper work and then suddenly you had room to find your purpose. Like,
yeah.
That's interesting to me.
I think another thing as well, someone said to me that really opens up was like, and it kind of goes to like being the techno warrior, being the person that brings community. It's not always my responsibility to give everyone a good time. And I think that's always been, I've always remembered that. As we've touched upon, I like to bring people on the journey. I like to make sure that everyone is like having the best time. But when I was doing that dark time, it came at my own expense because it was very much like going out all the time, doing other stuff, like and I was always known as the party boy. Always. Everyone would come back to mine. Like I'd always throw like wherever we'd be going. And I still have a bit of that, but I'm able to control it. I'm able to be a bit more like, yeah, I will go tomorrow. I will do 2 raves in 2 days. But I also know what I'm letting myself in for. And I'm doing it for me. I do think that when I was going through that tough time, and that's when I had to start a bit of therapy in the book, you can sometimes, and it goes into the book actually, we as gay people sometimes protect ourselves by making sure people like us. Either being the joke of the situation, making sure everyone has a good time, making sure you are being seen to be the funnest, most partiest, most best person that you can be. You want people to be around, like you want to be needed, you want to be around. And this is what the book goes into. And I feel like that really opens up a lot to be like, it's, again, just to repeat myself, it's not my responsibility to make sure everyone has a good time. I want to, but it doesn't have to be all the time. Does that make sense?
For sure. Man.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that just adds an extra layer to your story.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, just like comparing that insight to your driving force for what you're building now. Like, is there like a bit of tension there, or is it just kind of like an acceptance of, yeah, like this is a part of me, and it's just going to involve a bit of like discernment on my side to see like where I'm overextending myself, or
yeah, it's a different feeling because it's a feeling that I feel is not only growing people, growing our wrestling family, and have given this space for people. it's also giving me something to grow myself. And I think like before, when the only thing I had in life was being able to out party everyone, now I can put that effort into this promotion, into wrestling, into Emporium, into you guys, that is only benefiting and is only creating something so unique and special. Whereas before, I could outdrink anyone, I could outparty anyone. Is that really a mission? But not.
Preach.
And yeah, and I think that's where it's my responsibility now to be doing these shows and doing the best I possibly can. And if I sort it out now, do the press release, do all the socials, send everything out, do the target media list, blah blah blah, I would have done everything. I can say that it was we put everything in there. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I'm coming from. It's like it's gotten to a point now where with the shows, songs I know, I put my heart and everything I did in, and like what we do as a team as well, then I've achieved it. Do you know what I mean? And this is why I think it's a different type of feeling to allow to do this for everyone, and to do it because doing it for myself and doing it for them, doing it for you guys, doing it for like the audience, and just like growing it. Because before, it was generally just feeling the need to be in the room with and making sure everyone could like see how fun I was by just being the biggest party animal that you could ever have. And I think that's where the journey's changed, and that's why I feel a lot better in myself. A lot has healed. I don't go into it too much, but a lot has healed in the past 3 years. So yeah, it's a different type of leading and giving back to people and growing them than what it was before. That makes sense.
100%. And again, I think the only thing I'd add to that or compliment that is just it's so clear to me now how you're almost like redefining what a techno warrior is. You know, one is like, yeah, this kind of like very false, like meaningless performance, you know, which, yeah, again, I'd just describe it as kind of meaningless and directionless. And comparing that to where you are now and the journey that you've been on and the work that you've put in to, you know, make not only your physical reality, make stuff happen that way, but also, yeah, taking responsibility in terms of like, yeah, going deep within yourself and, you know, really putting the pieces together. I think all of what you've got now is a manifestation of the work that you've put in. So I think you're redefining, you know, what a techno warrior would be, you know, or what I don't know, what someone who could be a party animal the whole of their life in the form of escapism. Actually, you're a living example of how you can actually slow down, put the work in, and that same driving force for the escapism you can actually use and go in a completely different direction. So it's powerful stuff, brother, that you've shared there. Yeah, awesome.
And I guess it's thank you for giving me a safe space to share it. If I'm truly honest, like this has been really good. So I want to thank you for this. And again, for coming from a friend, a really close mate of mine, you've allowed me to do this. So I want to thank you as well.
Thank you, brother. Well, you're very welcome. That's for sure. We do have a final question before we wrap up today. And it's from Henry Kovac. And it is, what's a belief you held strongly that you no longer agree with?
You know, it's the term jack of all trades, master of none. I truly believe you can be a master of multiple trades. And I don't know why that always sticks with me. I hate that belief. Because I feel like I used to be, right, I'm going to be a DJ. I'm going to be a DJ. I'm going to focus on DJing. I'm going to do all DJing. I'm going to watch everything. I'm going to learn myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Why can't I be a DJ and a wrestler? Why can't I be both? Why can't I master both? And I think that's always something that I've believed, because it's like you put every single hour and every single day of your time to put into this one thing that you were going to be the master of. No way, you can be a master. You can do anything you want. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, at the moment, and I think this is set for me, wrestling and DJing, and music and promoting. But I guess promoting is another element to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's maybe like 3 now. Wrestling in the ring, promoting, DJing. Like, I can be a master of many trades. We all can. We can be a master of all trades. We don't have to just specialize in one specific thing, and that defines you. So that's always been something that like is changed over the time. So it's like, it's no longer my only effort and energy can go into this one thing. No, let's pull everything together.
Man, yeah, that spoke to my soul. I'm so with you on that, and I think that belief that you described before. I'm not to say that there might be elements to that that people could use, but certainly for myself, I find that very, very limiting. And like this podcast, which we're doing right now, I had a belief I've got to pick podcast or wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, look what we're doing now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it. Just we can create whatever reality we want. And you know, very often, if we are going to go into the practical terms here, you pick one thing here that you enjoy and one thing there, right? So you've got 2 different things. Why? Like, your chance of becoming a master have just increased because you're becoming a master of that niche. Because, and again, this ties back to really one of the first ever pod episodes I had with a chap called Ash, and he said this in terms of like, again, just in terms of specialization, for example. So if you need a physiotherapist, then if someone's looking for a physiotherapist and you're a physiotherapist, then you're competing with how many other physiotherapists. Now, if you are a physiotherapist for a certain sport, let's just say tennis players, that's just the first thing that came to mind, then if someone is looking for a physio and they're a tennis player, then your chances of finding an aligned client have increased. That's just the example. And the further niche you go, the more obvious you become. So again, translated to this example, it's like, yeah, well, why wouldn't you combine all your things and create something really special and unique? And that's what you have done and that you're doing now, really. So I 100% resonate with that. And I don't even think you need to become the best at any one thing either. Like, on a personal level, like, I love the idea of fulfilling my potential, seeing what I'm capable of doing. That's always going to be an important driver for me. At the same time, different seasons of my life, I'm going to dedicate more time towards certain things, right? And so when again, you talked about identity here before, do you have to be the best at something to make it part of your identity?
No.
Exactly. And so I came to this idea of like, okay, even if I am doing something like once a week or twice a week, it's still my identity. I'm still doing that thing. And so, yeah, like, you can be wherever you want. You don't have to pigeon yourself into one box. Like, we're multi-dimensional beings capable of, well, we're limitless. We're capable of so much. So, I think you're a living embodiment of that. I love your story. I love how you transmuted your pain into purpose. I love everything you're embodying now. You are embodying the Techno Warrior. Thank you for coming on. I'm glad we cracked you open. It's what the Max Moody Lens is all about. We go deep into the psyche, what's really happening beneath the surface. And I can only thank you for, playing your part in that, being so open, being so vulnerable. It takes 2 to tango. So thank you so much.
Thank you.